All right, should be live in just a second. How's it going, everybody? This is the Osmo.com NHL DFS Strategy Show. And we've got a big slate to talk about for today 11 games. We'll review everything that happened prior to the little break. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the holidays if you celebrate, or just enjoyed some time off of NHL DFS. What about you, Nolan? How'd it go for you?
Oh, I just played a lot of NBA, man. Got into that Yahoo NBA tournament on Christmas. It was great. I loved it.
Yeah, so I played that too, and it didn't work out too well for me, but
Yeah.
it was fun nonetheless. Um, Josh, yeah, there's a show today. There's a show today. Obviously, if you're watching that, but yeah, we were just a little bit late to pop on. This is the first day back, so of course there's going to be an NHL show. We're both excited to talk about it. Nolan did his line changes article for today for anyone that's a premium member. And I mean, you teed me up, so we'll talk about Yahoo right off the top. They've got a
Just,
it's a pretty cool NHL contest going on tonight. $500 to first in their $12. So if you're sick of playing NBA and want to get back into the NHL waters, this is a pretty good tournament. It's a five max, $60 investment. You can win. Top prize is $500, but they've got some decent min cash stuff, and it's just a lot less competitive than what you're going to get on DraftKings and FanDuel, plus lower management fees. So good for your long-term ROI. They still do have NBA and golf contests posted and NFL. And so get over and play on Yahoo. Use promo code OSMO to get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points, which is cash when you're playing DFS over on Yahoo. All right, man.
max it out.
What's that? Max it
Good
out?
max it out.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you? I'm gonna get in that Yahoo NHL contest. My bankroll is bleeding a little bit after NBA those couple days that I played.
Oh
But
man, like I've just been lucky, but Alex's projections just kill it for me on NBA.
yeah, I was probably trying to get too fancy. I should have just let the projections ride and just called it good there. But I deleted some lineups that were pretty chalky. Some guys that I had never even heard of. I somewhat pay attention to the NBA, but some guys that I never even heard of were
Yeah,
going
yeah.
nuts pretty early in the slate that I didn't have. So I kind of knew it was over for me. Yeah, I heard Cliffy did a really good job on a solo show
Yeah.
because we had some technical issues. No shock there though.
No, yeah, he just picked up the ball and went with it, man.
Yeah, dude.
Good stuff.
All right, got the games pulled up, but let's quick look at lineup study from that day. How did things go for you guys from a winning money standpoint? Anybody do anything good over there?
I didn't play because I had to leave right after. So
Fair enough. I was able to play. I was able to degen some lineups, and it actually almost worked out in a big way. But let's talk about first place draft charts. Draft charts, just playing unbelievable right now. I mean, it feels like he's banking something like once a week. He had New Jersey 2, Zajac Gusev, Coleman with just your normal Tampa 1 plus Hedman, classic 4-3-1, uncorrelated goalie. Both of his defensemen performed really well, and then Price ended up getting the win in 17.9 DK points. So again, nothing flashy from draft charts. He had a couple of those combos up near the top, and a couple of New Jersey threes with Tampa 1. So he just had basically the market cornered here, and I think he got maybe first and second, or no, first and third. He got, and so he was just dominating the leaderboard, and a couple people were almost catching him. This guy in second, M994770. Wow, that's a lot of numbers. He had Boston 2 with Tampa, a Tampa power play stack, Binnington and Dunn. Just finished about a point behind. But pretty good showing over there. I didn't really pay attention too much to the slate. I just let the projections ride and threw in some ownership projections, and seemed like it worked out okay. We've got some big contests. I know you're not a big fan of what they've got going on the 20 max over on DraftKings, but there's a queue tonight. You gonna fire any in that?
what is it?
It's a $15
Oh yeah,
qualifier.
yeah. I got a couple lineups in there
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. So maybe we'll talk some strategy for that. I'll talk about some lines that I think might be, maybe some decent long shots if you are playing in a tournament like that. That's essentially a winner take all. So I think this is a pretty good slate. I kind of like it. Talk to some people that don't like it, but I'm kind of a fan. So interested to hear what you have to say, Nolan. Ready to start this?
Let's fire it up.
All right, Bruins, Sabres, 3.1 implied total for the Bruins, 2.5 for the Sabres, Yaroslav Halak, and Linus Allmark in net. There are a ton of backup goalies going tonight. There's a bunch of back-to-backs tomorrow, so just be aware of that. But what other news and notes do we have in this game?
Yeah, so the big news on the Bruins side is that Torrey Krug and Charlie McAvoy are out. So Matt Grzelcyk going to quarterback the top power play unit. Just saw a beat writer post something like they're expecting Carlo and Char to get a ton of extra minutes tonight, which makes sense. And then on the Buffalo side of things, they're shuffling their bottom six around. I don't know what's going on with that. They were dressing 11 forwards for a while there. So if you're like me and a big Buffalo 3 player, then you might just need to be off of tonight.
Yeah, there's not a ton I like outside of the obvious here. Like, I think the top two lines are, or the top lines for each team are okay to use. It looks like I'm going to play a decent amount of Boston mode, which I didn't think when I was going through stuff before I was running projections and all that. But they just grade out so well for us. Whenever they have a total that's above 3, they're probably going to at least be in the conversation even for this price. And they're probably going to get some ownership, but I think because you're not seeing like a 3.8 implied total like it might be if Boston was at home here, the ownership might be a little bit muted, plus the price, like I said. So yeah, they're restrictive, but right now they're coming up as one of my favorite stacks overall, which is not surprising at all. And then on the Buffalo side, I'm at least open to playing Buffalo 1 tonight. I feel like I've never gotten them right this entire season, but it's not the worst price in the world. I think the ownership's going to be pretty low, and then just Boston is decimated on the blue line, like you said. No Grzelcyk, no Krug. That's pretty big for them. So they're starting like they have to play Moore and Camphor and Clifton and Grzelcyk as their bottom 4, and they're at home, so they get the benefit of last change. I could see things going Buffalo 1's way at a pretty low ownership. We don't have projections just yet, but I would expect them to be well under single digits. Any other love for depth lines here?
No, but I agree with you on Buffalo 1. I think that's a sneaky play for tournaments tonight, especially because of all the things that you mentioned. And they also had the highest correlated ice time on the slate tonight in their last game. They're getting like Colorado 1's level correlated ice time. So, I like them a lot for sure. And it won't take much to get overweight. I'm guessing like sub 2-3% ownership.
Yeah, especially if they're there. Like, I think I'm okay getting a few shares, being a 150 player, and maybe as sort of a qualifier flyer line, spending up to be contrarian, and maybe getting a line that might be 1% or 2% in the qualifier. Always something to look at in the winner take all type of format. Any defenseman you're looking at here?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it'll depend on what Grzelcyk's ownership is. I'm sure he's going to be the most owned defenseman on the slate, I'm guessing. So depends on, like, his price point's good, but if his ownership's insane, then I'm not, like, in love with playing him. But, I mean, the 4-man stack, Boston 1 and him makes a lot of sense, I think. So what about you?
Yeah, Grzelcyk top power play. I mean, that one's pretty obvious. I don't know that I'd be looking to play him a bunch without Boston 1 here, or at least Boston 2. But yeah, I mean, he's 3K top power play defenseman that plays with Bergeron, Marchand, and Pastrnak. So he's perfectly fine. He's not a lock or anything like that. And I think he actually makes for a pretty decent fade if you're not playing Boston 1. So if you're using FC, maybe you make a rule where if you're playing Grzelcyk, you have to play someone on the top power play with him on the Bruins. That might be a nice way to go because he's going to be a popular filler. He's just going to project pretty well for 3K, but not really a guy that gets a lot of peripherals or anything like that. So I'd probably be in like the 8 to 10% range, and basically all that will be with Boston 1 for Grzelcyk. That's really all I got in this game. We did just get ownership projections for NHL and then our NBA main slate ownership projections. Forgot to mention this at the top of the show. Those are free today, so go check those out if you're playing NBA. I think it's a 5-game slate, and then they've got a massive slate tomorrow. So use those to your advantage while you can, and if you could, throw us a like. That would be very much appreciated as we kind of go along here. Helps us continue to do this kind of stuff for free.
Surprising numbers on Bergeron ownership, man. Not as high as I would have thought, but I guess it's just one of those things with an 11-game slate, right?
Yeah, it looks pretty flat, which I think is I think is good. If you're, if you don't want to pay attention to ownership that much tonight, maybe this is a good night where it doesn't matter as much, especially if you're a single entry player. There's no clear like mega chalk or anything like that, but if you're a multi-entry player, ownership is always going to be important. So it's something I always keep an eye on. All right, Toronto, New Jersey, 3.5 implied total for the Leafs, 2.5 for the Devils. The Leafs are pretty chalky, bunch of their skaters up near the top. In fact, Matthews, we have him as the most owned player on the slate right now, which I think I agree with. Hutchinson and Blackwood in net. Any changes here?
Yeah, so new lines, I think a little bit. William Nylander's up with Tavares and Mikheyev. Matthews' line is the same. Then it's Kerfoot, Engvall, and Kapanen, and Spets is down on the fourth line with Gauthier and Timashov. What's the other side of this one? Oh, Devils. Devils all look the same to me. No one really got much ice time the last game. Zaka still out, I think. Oh no, Zaka back on the fourth line. I think that's new. And he's with Hayden and Boakvist. And then, that's pretty much it from this one.
Yeah, it looks like pretty one-sided affair here. I mean, Tavares, Nylander, pretty interesting, as is Matthews and Marner. And Hyman, I like the Matthews line a little bit better as a full stack. It looks like ownership is agreeing with that. I think you're going to get Tavares' line mates a little bit less owned than Marner. But I'd probably include Hyman in some of these for 4,400 here. That's a fine price when he's playing with those two guys. I mean, I just really like Matthews and Marner together. Just the idea of that. I think we got one game, the slate, the show that I was gone for. I think that's when they got put together, right? And so this will be the second time, and it's a great spot for them. Great power play spot for the Leafs as well.
And
so
half the ownership too. So I'd say like it's not his usual like 4% or anything, but like still just I feel like full line correlate on that like tonight for sure.
Yeah, and I am doing a lot of that. Most of my lineups will be 3-3s, but I'm trying to do some more power play stacks. I feel like I miss out on some of these teams and some of these really talented players that might not be on great lines if I don't include some power play stacks. The Leafs are certainly going to be on that list, talking about the top power play with Tyson Barrie for 5,300. I think that's a pretty good price. Devils have a pretty subpar penalty kill, and I think the Leafs have a massive advantage at 5-on-5 as well. If you just look at the skaters on their side compared to the Devils side, Marner and Matthews together, Tavares and Nylander together, I mean, it's just two lines that I don't think the Devils are going to be able to handle. So I'm not really caring that much what the matchups here are. If the Devils try to hard match or whatever, I don't think it's going to go well for them either way. And I don't really have anything I want to play on the Devils side either. It's basically all Leafs here. Leafs power play 1 or stacking either of the top two lines. Anything else you want to add?
No, I'm right there with you, man. It's tough to see. It's like Matthews, I feel like he's going a little bit overowned, but man, it's a pretty good spot, and they're heating up a little bit, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I just like the Leafs a lot, but I'm kind of mad that they're so heavily owned. But they're one of those teams where if they're even in a kind of good spot, they just always get ownership because they've got all these big names. And they've been playing at such a high pace over the last few years. Not as much this season, but against the Devils, like they're just a team everybody wants to pick on. And you've got affordable players and good line combos. Riley or Tyson Barrie for 53 and 5,400, both fine plays. Obviously, the lean goes to Tyson Barrie on the top power play, but that is really about it. Let's go to Carolina and the New York Rangers. James Reimer expected to go for the Canes, and Henrik Lundqvist for the Rangers. 3.4 implied total for the Canes, 2.7 for the Rangers. Any changes here? I don't think anything looks too different. What am I missing?
Well, I think the Rangers lines are new. I don't know. They've been screwing around with them a little bit lately. I don't know. Maybe not super new, but they've had this combo before. But it's Benajad, Buchnevich, Kreider, Panarin, Stroman, Fast, and Keedle, Kako, and Lemieux. I think Kako's a game time decision, but is expected to go, I believe. I think that's just outdated news. DraftKings has a lot of outdated news today, so make sure you're kind of on top of it, especially the Ducks. I think they have like 6 Ducks ruled out that are playing. So, Um, and then, yeah, everything looks the same. Still dressing 11 forwards, and it's usually like Jacob Trouba that gets the extra minutes there on the fourth line. Carolina all looks the same to me.
Yeah, this is. I actually kind of like both sides of this game. So
Yeah,
you've got the
absolutely.
really good, the really good line for Carolina: Aho, Niederreiter, Teravainen, Stahl, Svechnikov, and Fogel has actually been really awesome at 5-on-5 too. And then you've
Mhm.
got two guys in the top power play there, with Niederreiter getting bumped off a couple games ago in favor of Stahl. And so, like, you've got two forwards on each of the top two lines that get on that top unit with Dougie. So I think you can go with either one. Obviously, I'm looking to get to the Aho line if I can. Um, and so that's going to be the line I think I have the most of in this game. I think the Rangers, you can power play stack them with Zibanejad, Kreider, Strome, Panarin, some combo of those forwards, and then with Tony D or without. But it's really the Rangers power play here that I'm looking to attack against Carolina. I think Carolina has the huge advantage at 5-on-5, like in the last game I was talking about with the Leafs. Here, I would be surprised if they don't outshoot the Rangers pretty heavily. But the Rangers are probably going to generate some offense as well, and it is Reimer and net. So, um, not too bad of a spot here for the Rangers either, despite the low total.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually also like the Carolina third line, which I think has been pretty good together. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they were awesome. They were on the winning lineup in that 8-6 morning game the other night, and I don't know. They just seem like Nietzsche's at $2,600 is a crazy good deal. I think maybe that's chasing it a little bit, but their ownership isn't that high, and they fit in pretty well with some of the higher price stacks tonight.
As far as third lines go, I know it's a big slate. Like, you don't want to go crazy on those, but that is actually one that I think you should mention. So good catch there on Carolina 3. Like, it's just a pretty good line. Single, Halla, and Natchez. They get some secondary power play time. Halla has been a decent center for a number of years now. And they're going up against the Rangers' depth, which is pretty brutal. Like, they might be the worst defensive team in the NHL right now. In fact, I think they are actually, like, they give up, I think it's zero point 0.4 goals per expected goals per 60 more than the second worst team, which is the Blackhawks when I was looking at it this morning. So just really, really bad at 5-on-5 are the Rangers. Maybe Lundqvist can save them here. But yeah, doesn't look too promising. Where are you kind of ranking Dougie at $6,800 here?
Pretty well. I think I was just looking at our defense projections here. Like he's right behind our old friend Brent Burns in the projections. So I think I'll try to force some of him in or get to some of him if I'm not getting enough. It's going to be tough. Like I don't know, Boston's just in such a prime spot tonight. It's going to be tough. But yeah, I like him tonight.
Yeah, I love Dougie. He's not my number one guy right now, but it looks like no one's really getting out ahead of the pack for me. Like there's the obvious guys. There's Yossi, there's Dougie, Tyson Barrie I mentioned, Clefbaum for Edmonton. Like there's a bunch of guys up near the top, and Dougie's in that top tier for me. Like he's easily a top 5 guy for me. I didn't even mention Carlson and other guys like that. So
It doesn't look like ownership's really sticking on any one guy as well. Like it's pretty spread out at the top. So
yeah, we have no defenseman that's over 16% projected ownership, which I think is about right. Like maybe someone, sneaks up into the close to 20% range, but I don't even know who it would be because the pricing is so soft on all these guys. And if you just go 4-3-1, like it's really, really easy to do that. Just play the correlated defenseman. And Dougie certainly works with either of the top 2 lines for Carolina here. Anything else in this game?
No. Well, what about? Do you like Rangers one at all?
Yeah. So that's the line I prefer if you're full stacking.
Yeah.
I like them over the Strome Panarin line. Zibanejad, Kreider, and Buchnevich. You just never know when he's going to get benched for doing something that the coach doesn't like. But he is 3,700. He's not on the top power play, which kind of stinks. But yeah, it's Rangers one for me if I'm going to a full line stack here.
Yep.
Looks like they're actually getting some ownership, probably more because of the price, like Kreider under 5K and Buchnevich at 37. a little bit higher ownership than I expected. I guess I won't be having too much of an edge on them, but I do like the power play stack as well. I think I mentioned that earlier. Let's go to the Blue Jackets and the Capitals. 2.5 implied total for the Blue Jackets, 3.5 for the Caps. Jonas Korpisalo against Ilya Samsonov. And, man, new Blue Jackets lines. I know Bjorkstrand was kind of a later scratch on Monday. So maybe these lines were the same, but remind me, are these the same lines?
I think they're the same lines, yeah. But it's Jenner, Stenlund, Nyquist, Texier, Dubois, Robinson, Wenberg, Sonoring, Kirby, and Foligno, and then Nash, Ryan McInnes. I didn't know. It's Al McInnes' kid. I didn't know that. And Jakob Lilia on the fourth line. Only small changer. Gabriel Carlson in for Scott Harrington on D. No changes for Washington.
Yeah, Columbus has been a team that I keep getting to a ton of, specifically the Jenner Nyquist line, and that's usually because of Bjorkstrand just like using recent data, and he was a guy that was just gonna pop a ton because he was shooting so much and creating so many scoring chances and all that. But I'm still getting to a lot of them because of the $2,500 Stenlund. You don't really play Columbus all that much because of the power play, but it is nice to have full correlation. Maybe they pop one in here against the Capitals, back up in net. It is Samsonov. It's not Holtby. And so it's kind of Columbus 1 or really nothing for me here. I guess you could get to a Dubois, Tessier, and Robinson stack just if you're going dirt cheap and you're trying not to get duped. I don't think it's a stack people will have. So maybe I end up with a couple of those. But for the most part, it's all Caps here. Backstrom, Ovi, Wilson, Kuznetsov, Verana, and Oshie. We've seen these lines a bunch of times. I really prefer the top line. If you can get to them, the pricing is pretty soft on them, so I think you're going to be fine getting to them. But the second line, despite how bad they've been, like numbers-wise, I don't know if you've seen their numbers. If you just look on like Natural Stat Trick, they're really bad defensively. But I don't think they're going to have too big of an issue right now. At least in this matchup, they're going to get the favorable matchups against the Columbus depth. So I'm willing to take some stabs on Washington 2 as well, even though that's been a line I've been off of for the most part.
Yeah, they're underpriced, I think, a little bit, Washington 2. But the problem, normally you can get them at really low ownership, and I think that people are catching on maybe a little bit, and now they're at 10% in a good matchup. So for me, it's kind of I'm a little bit less sold on them at that, but it's good. Still pretty darn good matchup. So
yeah, so I'm kind of like processing these ownership projections as we go. That's really high for it's not a stack that's going to grade out as a top raw point stack. Like this isn't a Boston 1 type where you're paying up for the raw points. Like this is more of what I would consider a filler stack for Washington 2. So that ownership's actually a lot higher than what I expected. I expected them to be about like half of that. At least Kuznetsov. I guess he's on the top power play, so maybe we're expecting some power play stacks with the Caps, and you can certainly do that, or replace Kuznetsov, or replace Backstrom with Kuznetsov, and save $800 and stuff like that. But like, for them to be even close to where Washington 1's at, I think that's going to push them down the rankings for me, and especially when I talk about like they just haven't been great defensively. They haven't been great offensively if you look at their numbers so far. So I'm kind of talking myself off of them after seeing that ownership a little bit.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Let's go. Well, anything else left in this game? I guess we got defensemen to cover. I'm a little rusty here.
That's all good. Yeah, I mean, John Carlson, I don't know. I've been wrong about him all year. So, I mean, I'm assuming there's going to be some regression at some point, but it just doesn't seem to ever happen for him. So,
yeah, I don't know what his point pace is right now, but it looks, for the most part, I mean, looks pretty real. Yeah, he's running hot right now for sure. But now we're like halfway through the season.
Yeah, 100 point pace. So he won't finish with that many points. So I think if you want to start fading him long term, you'll end up ahead. But in a slate like this, why? I don't know. He just seems like a good play at a good price. But
yeah, no Yossi tonight. Wait, or is that saying don't play Yossi tonight because Tyson Yari is going to get a shutout, or is he out? He's not out, is he? Yeah. Okay. You scared me for a second. I was gonna have to redo all my lineups. But yeah, I'm playing Carlson. He's underpriced for 6,600. Like it's a pretty good spot for the Caps, and he's another one where you could play with either of the top two lines. And so I prefer him with the top line because Backstrom and Ovi are such big parts of that top power play, but you could go with him and Kuznetsov, Oshie, and Vrana if you like that line as well. Karlsson is in that top tier with the Dougies and the Yossies of the world. And then I really love Werenski on the other side at 4,800. Just been playing really well, playing a lot of minutes, playing on the top power play. I know that's not super important for Columbus, but it's better than not being there. And he's $700 less than Seth Jones. So I'm playing a bunch with Columbus one, and just as a one-off, he's one of my favorite one-offs tonight at 4,800.
Nice. I was not on him at all, but I will take your word for it.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. All right, let's go to... Actually, I like Orlov as a punt for 3K, maybe a pivot off of Grzelcyk.
My Orlov, I don't know.
He's always your boy. Yeah, I'm surprised you're not there.
He just isn't done. I guess he's had a few good games lately. I haven't been paying attention, but yeah, he does his thing. He'll do his thing.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Pittsburgh and Nashville. We've got a 2.8 implied total for the Penguins, 3.2 for the Predators. Tristan Jarry and Pekka Rinne expected to go for the Preds. Jarry's confirmed. Rinne, I thought he was confirmed, but I think he's likely to go. But do we see anything new here?
So the Penguins are mixing things up a little bit. Galchenyuk is with McCann and Cahoon. Bluger with Tanev and Aston Reese. Who cares about the fourth line? And then Nashville side of things as well. It looks like Forsberg's kind of back in his normal role. So he's up with Duchesne and Granlund. And Kyle Turris centering Craig Smith and Grimaldi, which is kind of weird. It makes me like, that Nashville third line's been excellent this year. Bonino now down. I'm going to guess that that's a pretty huge downgrade for that line, given the way Kyle Turris played. So, and then Bonino centering Sissons and Watson. Also, I don't know when this happened. I might have missed it a few days ago, but Ryan Ellis and Yossi are both on the Nashville power play one. So maybe I think a contrarian move in some of these large GPPs is to pop both those guys on a single team.
Yeah, I'm probably okay playing them on the same team, even on a big slate, because there's some correlation in that they play together at 5-on-5 and on the power play. You're probably limiting your upside a little bit playing those two guys, but you don't need to be perfect on an 11-game slate, and you're probably locking in a bunch of points.
You're
anyways.
Right. But if they're getting if they're in a matchup where they're gonna get I don't know if this is the matchup or not, because Pittsburgh really only has one fairly decent offensive line, but it's nothing crazy. But they're going to get their 25 to 27 minutes. If one of them gets that means the other's getting that too, right? So it's kind of interesting to think about playing them both.
Yeah, you don't often think of double stacking here, but the double D-man stack is in play as long as these guys are going to play in the top power play, and definitely something for a shorter slate to consider. But tonight, I don't think you need to. I don't think I'm going to end up making a rule where I can't play both of them. Yossi grades out well for us, but he's not like a slam dunk tonight because Pittsburgh, they've just been good defensively, which doesn't make a lot of sense. With some of these defensemen they're rolling out, I guess maybe they're just improving or whatever, but they've been decimated with injuries this entire season, and these defensive numbers are still really good. And so they're riding this top line a ton. I was not expecting to see them at this ownership. So actually, let me see where Rust is at. We have Rust at over 6%. That's kind of high for a guy that I don't think projection systems have caught up to.
Those guys are coming in at sub 3%.
You think so?
I think it's off.
Yeah, I think we might be, man. So I don't know. Maybe people are just listening to me. Just love Pittsburgh one every play. Yeah, no, I don't think we have that kind of pull with ownership. Not even close, but maybe people are just taking notice of how good they've been, and they've broken a couple slates.
People also hate to play guys up against Nashville, right? I'm thinking they come in sub 5.
I don't know. These ownership projections have been just getting better and better. So
I'm not knocking them.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't want to go against them here. But it's definitely I thought for sure we would get them at 2-3% just on the road, low total in Nashville, but we're showing maybe that's not going to be the case right now with Pittsburgh one. I'm still going to be on them because I'm always on them. Like, I include the recent data, last 10, last 20, and try to get potential edges that way. And they just project so well. Like, they're so good at 5-on-5. They're so good on the power play together, and they play a ton of minutes. So the 2.8 total hopefully scares enough people off where we get them maybe in the 5-6% range in MME stuff. And that would definitely be a line I would be looking to go overweight on in the qualifier tonight. So yeah, despite the increased ownership that we're seeing on Pit 1, I still really, really love them. What about the Nashville lines?
Yeah, I mean, I like both of the top lines, I guess. I don't know. I can't get Nashville right lately, so I just pretty much just play Yossi and call it a day. So I don't know. I'm not super excited about this game, to be honest, but 3.2 implied total is pretty good. What about you?
Yeah, that's a good point in the chat. People always love playing Pitt. This is just the first year that you like them, Jake. Yep, that is actually really fair. I'm usually just like Pitt fade like these last few years, and now for whatever reason I'm just all over them like every single slate. Can't get enough of my Pitt one, so tonight's gonna be no different. But I like Nashville too. I really prefer Duchesne and Forsberg and Granlund together. They've got this. They're hopefully done with this Forsberg with the fourth line nonsense. Maybe they get him going with Duchesne and Granlund. This line has really good numbers together in their time, and they're not. I don't think they're going to get much of Pit 1. So hopefully they have the puck on their sticks and not trying to keep the puck out of their zone. Like I think maybe the Johansson, Arvidsson, Yarncroc line might be dealing with. So Pit 1, Nashville 2. Looks like I'm going to come in probably overweight on both of those lines. So pretty excited about that. And then, of course, Yossi, Ellis, if you're trying to get away from Yossi or don't have the extra 1,200. And then Letang would be the guy I would go with on Pit 1, but it's not, or with Pit 1, but it's not like a great spot, I don't think, for Letang. And, you could pay a few more dollars, a few hundred more dollars for someone in a way better spot, I think. So I'm not playing a lot of Pit 1 plus Letang tonight, it looks like.
Yeah, that's fair. The points on Pittsburgh are good, but like it's usually Crosby and Gwenzel in like a $3,000 rust, right? It's a little bit different when you're dealing with.
So Rust has been just really good this year. Like he's in a good situation, but like he's also like he's been good.
Yeah, so. I'm not denying it. I'm just saying like I don't think people are going to pay that. We'll find out. We will. This is the great. We get to actually know in like a few hours. So.
Yeah, exactly. This will be good. All right, go Pit 1. Blues Jets 2.9 implied total for the Blues, 2.6 for the Jets. Binnington and Connor Hellebuck in net. What do we got going on in this game?
Nothing doing, man. No major changes.
Perfect. Is there anything, running through crunches or just like looking through this game, is there anything that like caught your eye? Like, is there anything you want to play?
Caught my eye. It's we have Winnipeg 1 projected for like under 1%, and I think like it's a tough matchup, but I kind of like that at like almost no ownership. It seems like that would be probably a pretty good plus EV play over the long haul. And then St. Louis to the O'Reilly line is getting a ton of ice time recently together. So I kind of like them as well. I'm guessing they're going to go overlooked tonight.
Yeah,
what about you?
I think this game just might go overlooked. And it's not a game that I'm crazy about. And it's not really a game that you get to if you just run projections and, just do 3-3 stacks. But I like the Scheifele Connor line. Like I think that's just a good line, and they're fully correlated in there. That would be one of your spend up to be contrarian spots. So that's kind of where I'm hitching my wagon to on the Winnipeg side. And you don't need a lot to get over the field on them. And then on the other side, I like the line. I think they're going to go up against the most, and that I think is going to be the Shen Schwartz Kyrou line. Like this Scheifele line, while good offensive numbers, really bad defensive numbers. Like I think the most expected goals against for any line that has like over 60 minutes played on this slate, expected goals per 60. So they're just not good defensively, but they are really good offensively. And actually, the line that has the most of any line that's played over 50 minutes of expected goals against per 60 is this O'Reilly, Perron, Sundqvist line. They're at 3.3 expected goals against per 60. That's really bad. I don't think that's going to hold up anywhere close to that. But yeah, that is kind of weird. The next line actually is the Scheifele line. But anyways, you would think if you're Winnipeg, you're probably trying to get the Scheifele line away from O'Reilly and Perron, right? And so that would give them more time against Shen, Schwartz, and Kyrou here. So I like St. Louis one as a little bit of a fun filler we've got them at pretty low ownership. So looking forward to playing some of them. And I kind of like that I wasn't getting to any of this game because it is a low total game, 5.5 implied goals. People will just look elsewhere, and that's fine. But I'm going to try to force myself to get to some of the top line for each team here.
Yeah, I agree. And I think your analysis is spot on there too. Like it's probably going to be, So are you? So you're saying you're going to go overweight on the Shen?
Yeah.
Line?
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's smart. Cheap on Yahoo as well. If you're building up, if you just want to do like a Shen, Schwartz, 2-stack as well, pair them with another line, they're good price.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, playing over on Yahoo is it's a little bit different. You'll see some pricing discrepancies between the DraftKings and FanDuel sites. Yeah, softer pricing for sure. And yeah, I like that call, especially if they're going to be cheap. So I'm sure I'll get to some of them in my 5 lineups I've got going over there tonight. And I don't have a ton of defensemen that I'm looking at. Pionk up to 5,100. I suppose he would be the guy if you're going with Winnipeg 1, but now all of a sudden you're playing a line that's, $22K plus a $5,100 defenseman that I don't think projects that well. And so you're just getting really expensive for a foursome that I don't really love all that much. What about the blue side? Anything?
Nah, nothing. I mean, I don't know. I did just, I'm sure there's like Pietrangelo is probably like a nice deep contrarian play, but I don't know. Just got spots I like more elsewhere, I guess.
Right. I mean, sometimes it's not about the play. Like if this were a 5-game slate, I'm sure Pietrangelo would be a guy I have a ton of at 5,600, but they're just guys within $1,000 either way. I mentioned Werenski, Carlson, Yossi. Like these guys are all close enough in price that he's getting squeezed out for me. That's fine.
Yeah.
Wild, Avalanche, 2.6 implied total for the Wild. We've got a 3.5 implied total for the Avs. Devin Dubnyk and Pavel Francouz going for the Avs. What do we got new on either side here?
Well, Kyle McCarr is back for the Avs, back on his top power play unit as well. So that's kind of the big news. And he is underpriced. Speaking of guys I like more than Pietrangelo, he is just $5K, I think, on DraftKings against the worst defense against defensemen in the entire NHL fantasy-wise this year. So for me, that's one of the top bargains on the slate. All the lines look exactly the same for Minnesota. I will be probably overweight on Colorado 1. I think Colorado 2 can be a little sneaky here. And I think everything's the same for Minnesota here. Dumba down on the third pairing, I've noticed. So he owes us each like probably $1,000. We'll have to hit him up, but I'm not playing him anymore. And then the Eric Stahl, Parise, and Zuccarello line's getting a lot of ice time as well in the absence of Koivu and Zucker. So that's another line that's probably a little bit contrarian tonight that isn't too pricey. Kind of like them.
Yeah, still no Koivu for the Wild. So that was one thing that I was looking at. Speaking of getting squeezed out, I mean, Colorado 1, like, I'm not getting to much of any of them. And it's mostly due to the restrictive pricing. Like, man, are you getting to a lot of them?
I'm not getting to them in crunches, but I'm going to force them in for sure.
Right. Yeah. So I'm going to end up playing some of them. Like right now I have literally 0 Colorado 1 if the slate started this instant. And that just feels wrong on an 11-game slate where you're getting McKinnon at reasonable ownership. Like they're not going to be the highest owned stack on the slate, I don't think. And then I was kind of mad to see the high implied total here for the Avs. I thought maybe if we saw like 3.1, 3.2 or something like that, people would just disregard them and you might even get them at lower ownership. But with this total, some people are going to be attracted to them. So I don't know that I get over the field on Colorado 1, but whether it's power play stack with something like McKinnon, Rantanen, Kadri, and then Makar or something like that, I will be playing some sort of Colorado because I think it is kind of a better spot than what the season-long numbers would indicate as far as Minnesota's defensive prowess here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you like any lines on the Minnesota side?
I do like the top line. Yeah. I don't. I mean, I know they're not. I don't know. You'll have better insight than I will about this because I'm sure they're going to be seeing what line, the Kadri line maybe. So
I think so. I think the like I don't think Colorado needs to avoid any matchup here. So I think they're just going to roll, and you're probably going to see Stahl, Parise, Zuccarello play the most time for Minnesota, and then obviously Colorado won for the Avs. So I think they're going to be matched up the most, but I don't think it's going to be very intentional.
Yeah.
I like the second line for the Wild. They're just dirt cheap. I think there's talent. I'm always drawn to where Fiala is at. He's just a guy that kind of makes plays, and when he's on the right line, he can be a high volume shooter. Same thing with Donato. Eriksson X min salary, $2,500. They're all on that second unit together. I know it's the Dumba unit, so they probably won't do anything. Dumba and Brad Hunt, but yeah, I like them as a filler. Maybe you could even game stack it with Colorado 1. But this would be a line I'd be looking to pair with a Boston 1 or someone really expensive. Colorado or Toronto power play stack. It looks just like a line that has some potential to me at that price. Did you mention Makar? You like him a lot at 5K, right?
Yeah. I mean, how can you not, right? Guy's been amazing so far.
Yeah.
I'm like putting him in as many stacks as possible with Colorado 1. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. 5K for him seems like a pretty good price. I mean, he was priced up at, I think he was at 6,500 before he was hurt. So 3.5 total looks like a little bit of an underprice. I know he was overperforming his metrics a little bit, but like I mentioned, Colorado's on my list of teams that I'm looking to power play stack, and Makar is going to be a big reason for that at 5K.
You like Colorado too at all?
Yeah, I was just going to mention them. I'm lukewarm on them. Their numbers don't look great so far at 5-on-5, and I feel like they might be a popular filler stack, like similar to what we see with the Capitals, where you've got the Kuznetsov line basically being the same ownership. And maybe I'm wrong on that. We're actually showing pretty low ownership for Colorado too. So I guess if that's the case, I'm more willing to get there, but I don't love the way they've played, even though I love those three guys together, like the idea of Kadri with Burakovsky and Donskoy. So maybe they're going to overcome that and their numbers will straighten out. But
a little bit pricey, but like maybe I don't know.
I don't even think they're pricey. Like I think they're priced well. So maybe I'll look into that. I don't know why I wouldn't be getting to some of them. But
you could get Washington too for that price. Yeah.
So like this is the thing. Like I can see the reason for playing Colorado here, and I'm still not getting to them despite the large total, which we obviously work into the projections and all of that. Like, and so I think it's just being weighed down by how good Minnesota's been defensively for this season, but. Dumba's not playing well. They did get Spurgeon back. That's actually a huge addition for them. They got Brody and Soucy's playing well. Like they do have, like they still should be fine defensively for the most part, but I still think like Stahl, Eriksson X, Sturm, and Rask are your centers. Like I think you're in trouble most nights when you're going up against McKinnon and Kadri and Rantanen, Landeskog, like all these guys. So I want to figure out a way to get to more Colorado is how I'm approaching this, because right now I can't really. There's just other stacks that project out a little bit better for us.
Yeah, I agree.
Man, any of these Colorado defensemen you're looking at, like, do you have a preference between EJ, Zadorov, Cole, Gerard? Like, they're all kind of the same for me. Who?
Just all kill Makar for me.
Yeah, fair enough. Islanders, Blackhawks, 3 implied total for the Isles, 2.6 for the Hawks. Thomas Greiss expected to go against Robin Lehner. Any changes for either team here?
Chicago's shuffling their lines, so I don't really have much confidence in whether or not these are going to stick. It's the same kind of setup they've had for the last few games. But So I don't know. I'm a little bit scared off by them. And then on the Islanders side of things, we got some jumbling with the middle lines here. Nelson without Colin Bailey, Beauvillier, Brassard, and Kunakol. Kind of gross wingers on each one of those. And then the top line getting a lot of correlated ice time as well. So kind of like Islanders 1 as a sneak play tonight.
Yeah. Are they not getting owned?
Well, they're expensive, so I'm assuming they're not getting owned. But let's take a look.
Well, only Barzal's expensive, but yeah, wow. I mean, they're pretty low owned right now. Yeah, I'm with you. If we think they're going to be, not even close to a top 5 owned line, I just figured that, yeah, Barzal's expensive, but with the full correlation, people are more likely to play all 3 of them together, and that's going to bring the price per player way down. So
5%.
Yeah. So they're actually a line that, I haven't liked how they've played this season. Their defensive numbers are pretty brutal. I don't know how the Islanders don't get blown up once every couple weeks. It feels like they never get blown up. And I'm always stacking against them. And so, anyways, I like the Isles 1 here. That's my preferred line. It seems really obvious which line you want to go to here. Not necessarily a team I'm looking to power play stack. And so just give me the guys that are on the top power play. Stack them up with Tays if you want. Pulak not on the top power play kind of hurts for 5K, but Islanders side seems pretty easy to me. They even broke up my Nelson Beauvillier combo that I liked so much. And so it'll mostly just be Isles 1. And then on the Blackhawks side, what do you think about the second line here? Strome, Kane, and Nylander. I can't make up my mind about these Blackhawks.
Yeah, I'm just not playing the Blackhawks tonight. I don't know. I've just seen them shuffle their lines far too often lately, and I don't like one guy on each line, so I'm just kind of off it basically. Also, I forgot to mention Brendan Saad is out for a while for the Blackhawks, and Seabrook as well is on IR. I think his career might be over, but yeah, not getting any Blackhawks tonight, man. But talk me onto them because I know we've been targeting the Islanders a little bit.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know if I want to talk you onto them or if I want to talk myself off of them. But they always have these cheap guys with Kane and Tays, and so as a full line, I think I'm drawn to the Strome line, Strome, Kane, and Nylander. Their numbers are okay, I think, at 5-on-5. With DeBrincat instead of Nylander, they were terrible, and they were always owned, and I was, they were more expensive, and I was getting off of them. But here, cheaper, and people maybe looking at this 2.6 total and getting off of them entirely. I'm willing to take some stabs at the second line here for the Hawks and just hope things go their way. Like I mentioned, the Barzal line, not great defensively. I don't think Nelson Bailey and Dal Cole is going to be great, and certainly not the Brassard, Beauvillier, Kunakol trio. So I think the 5-on-5 spot is fine. And then you get top power play. The Islanders have just had insane goaltending, so it's probably going to be frustrating. But I will be playing some Chicago 2 tonight. It looks like I'm about double the field based on what we have in our ownership projections.
Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to see that, but I know value's overrated, but $2,500 Nylander, Strome, Kane, top power play, Kane at 7K seems okay. So maybe this is the time I get lucky attacking the Islanders at low ownership.
Fair.
Oh, I thought I lost you there for a second, or you were muted or something.
No, I'm just dealing with this stupid setup I got. There we go.
Anything else we got here? Did you get a new setup?
No, just in the process of moving things. So.
Oh, that's right. All right.
Okay.
Gustafsson, 4,200. I guess would be the guy I'm going to if I'm playing a Blackhawks defenseman, or Murphy, actually. I think Vots mentioned Murphy in the YouTube chat. Yeah.
Both seem to project out really well. It's great values.
By the way, Dahan being out for the Hawks, that definitely hurts them. They're already terrible at 5-on-5, and now you take out a defenseman that's playing a ton of minutes. That's not too bad. So now you're playing Gustafsson and Oli Mata and Dennis Gilbert. Yeah, it's going to be bad.
Pretty ugly down there.
Leonard, 7,200. That's a pretty good play.
I think that's one of my favorite cheap options, along with maybe Gibson tonight. I got no problem going there. Dude can stand on his head at any time.
Yep, just always seems like he's getting volume, and he's playing incredibly well. Flames, Oilers, 3.1 implied total for the Flames, 2.9 for the Oilers. David Rittich and Mikko Koskinen confirmed. Do we see any changes on either side?
Just a small one. Archibald up on the second line with Nuge and Neal. And, Chase on down on the fourth line there, I think. That's about it. So, new fourth line as well for Calgary. It's Sam Bennett, Jankowski, and Frolik draws back in as well.
Man, Frolik back and Kachuk just completely obsolete this season. They're so good last year and a couple of years
so weird. I just can't get used to these Flames line. I keep expecting them to go back to normal.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with them.
What are you doing with this game? Do you like any we probably know where we're going on the Edmonton side, but what are we doing with the Flames lines here? Do you prefer the Monahan-Gaudreau, or are you more in tune with Lindholm and Kachuk and Mangiapane?
I don't know. I'm just not getting much. I mean, it's 3.1 implied total, so it's not bad, but I'm not excited about playing anyone other than Edmonton 1 tonight.
Neither am I. First of all, Edmonton 1 is super cheap. Way too cheap when McDavid and Draisaitl are playing together. It's like they thought that Draisaitl was not playing with McDavid or something, but they had him listed as a winger, so I don't even know. I don't know what DK was doing here. They're incredibly cheap. On the other side, I'm playing more of the Monahan line, and that's just straight up kind of a guess that they're going to see more time against McDavid and Draisaitl and Zach Kassian. Edmonton 1 has really not been good defensively, but they're high event, so I think there's going to be chances to go around. I think there's going to be chances to go around if they go up against Monahan, Gaudreau, and Backlund, and that's the line I prefer, but basically just guessing on Calgary. Who knows if they're going to keep these lines together. I know they've been playing well, or much better since they fired their coach, but I don't know if I've had a profitable slate this season when I've been overweight on Calgary, and they certainly haven't been the reason if it has been the case.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess I'm right in the same boat as you. Giordano just doesn't seem like the same player, though. I kind of like him his price. And then for me, it's just going to be Edmonton 1 here, I think.
Yep, Edmonton 1 is my highest owned stack on the slate. It's not even that close. I will take the price. I don't care about the 2.9 implied total. This is a team that has as much concentration on scoring for their forwards as any team in the NHL, and then you know where to go for their defensemen as well. It's there's a very clear trio to stack: Draisaitl, McDavid, Klefbom. They're starting to get the game together. Even if they weren't starting the game together, they would end up on the same lines together. You can play Kassian for 3,900, and or you could swap him out for Neal or Nugent Hopkins, who are both also really cheap. So everything is lining up for me. Are you leaving Kassian on? I don't really care.
It's cheap now. I don't know. He was up at $5K for a while, but I got no problem with it. You're just going to I'll take the ownership discount and just hope he pots one.
Yeah, I'm fine playing him, or like I said, Neal or Nugent Hopkins if you want to play someone that's on the top power play. But everything goes through McDavid and Draisaitl here. I don't know. It seems like a pretty good spot, and the pricing is they're 85% or 90% of where they should actually be priced on DraftKings. So, and they're not even that highly owned right now, which seems a little bit weird.
Yeah, it does actually. Yeah.
All right, let's go to Vegas and Anaheim. We've got a 3 implied total for the Golden Knights, 2.4 for the Ducks. Subban and Gibson in net. Do we have anything interesting in this game?
Raquel out for the Ducks, likely left practice early, probably not going to play. So it's Getzlaf, Sprong, Shore, Enrique, Silverberg, Steele, just whole new lines actually since I published the line changes. I think they switched them up again. I don't know. I didn't see anything from their usual 2 beat writers, but Carrick, Kasha, Comtois, and then on the other side of this one, good God,
I don't think there's anything different except for Cody Glass is back. That was the only thing I saw.
Cody Glass back on the third line with Stastny and Took, and Valentin Zykov sits.
Yep, I think you've got 3 lines that are in play on the Vegas side. I usually like to play a couple lines when the team's at home, but I like a lot of the road teams tonight, like Carolina and a bunch of others that we've mentioned. Vegas is certainly one of them. It's always tough to try to figure out which line you want to stack because they're so evenly matched really in their top line or top nine, and certainly in their top six. I don't really care who goes up against who, but tonight I'm looking to play more of the Stevenson, Pacioretty, Stone line. Not really sure why Stone's price is down that much. I know he hasn't been fantastic this season, but like this line's numbers so far, let's see where they're at. I know they lead the slate in expected goals for per 60. They're at 4 expected goals for per 60 in 90 minutes of ice time. Almost 75 shot attempts per 60. Like the scoring chances and high danger chances are outrageous. And they have fine results, but not like slate breaking results. I think that is coming at some point. And so I'm just on them as long as they're together. Stevenson probably doesn't project that well for us, but 3,800 centering those two guys, I'll take that all day and take the ownership discount. Vegas 2 is one of my favorites tonight, and I'm just gonna keep playing them, like I said.
Yeah, I'm right there with you again. The only thing that obviously concerns me sometimes about Anaheim is Gibson, who's pretty cheap. He hasn't been great lately, but I'm still, I don't know, like his goals against and his save percentage are actually pretty terrible this year. So I think it's probably not a reason to fade, to even consider fading these guys. And just the Stevenson price point makes that whole line so much more affordable. Mark Stone at 6K is nuts. So yeah, I agree with you there. I think I prefer that line, but I don't know, Vegas, like I was curious about the ownership here because it seems like a pretty good spot, and Vegas just tends to go under-owned. I think probably because people just don't like to choose between two lines sometimes, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Man, I'm choosing between one tonight though, and I'll probably be wrong, but like
Stephenson or Stevenson.
I think it's
he's
Stevenson.
less than a percent owned. So
yeah, so I'm all over that. Give me the 3 assist game, and then Shea Theodore I like more as a one-off for 4,800 because he doesn't go with the line I prefer on Vegas tonight, but I'll always play him for 4,800. Just ultra talented, has those spike games in him because of how good he actually is. And then I don't have anything on the Ducks side that I really want to play with Raquel out. It's bad on the Ducks side for me.
I agree. I'm not playing any Ducks tonight.
All right, let's go to the Kings and Sharks. 2.7 implied total for the Kings, 3.2 for the Sharks. Jack Campbell and Aaron Dell in net. This is our last game on the slate, so if you could give us a like before you close out of this window, that would be greatly appreciated if you have not already. What do we have as far as changes? I think the Sharks are new, huh?
Yeah, new Sharks lines here. Let me just pull them up. I'm just a little slow today, Jake. You know,
That's all right.
Just getting back into the swing of things here. Yeah, new line combinations for the Sharks. Again, we're back to like each line having one bad winger. Barclay Goodrow with Couture and Kane. Hurtlemeyer, and then LeBank's up there. So San Jose 2, probably your best bet tonight. Thornton, Marlowe, Sorensen, and then on defense, Radim Simic and Mario Ferraro are expected to go tonight. On the LA side of things, Dustin Brown out. Tyler Toffoli moves up to that spot, and then Martin Ferk draws into Tyler Toffoli's spot.
Yeah, man, I suppose that's actually a pretty decent line now with Toffoli, with Kopitar and IFL. I'm just seeing that now for the first time. I don't think I was getting to much of them. But actually, I was looking at the Sharks as a team so far this season. They've been like better defensively than what I expected. And so I haven't been targeting against them too much. That would be the line I'd want to take a shot against them with. But I don't really love anything in this game. Like Goudreau at 2,800, like I suppose he's just cheap and you're playing Couture and Kane. So it's fine if you want to stack that up. And then you've got the 3-wing situation with Meyer, Hurdle, and LeBanc, which is a line I would otherwise love. And so if I'm power play stacking my other forwards and you can full line stack this with those 3, you're probably going to get them at really low ownership as a trio. So if you can figure out a way to get creative and play the 3-wing second line for the Sharks, that would be the way I prefer to attack it. I just haven't found a way to get to a ton of them.
Yeah, I agree with you.
What about Burns and Carlson? We playing them tonight?
I guess so, man. I don't know. Like I've been on Team Fade Burns for a while now, but he's the number 1 defenseman in our projections. So I think on some level, it's like trust the projections. getting some ownership as well, though. Decent price point. Not getting the ice time and power play time that we're used to when he was like a lock every night. So I don't know, man. What do you think? Like, I'm going to have some at that price point, but I'm not as excited about him at high ownership and, not being like that much more projected than any of our other top defensemen as well.
Yeah, so I don't think he stands out as like a play. Like it's not last year's Burns at this time where like you just play him kind of, and whatever you get of Burns when you can fit him in, you play him. Like I think there are other guys that have caught up to him, but like lately he has been getting much better ice time. Like a couple weeks ago he's playing 19, 20, 21 minutes. Last few he's playing 27, 26, 28, 29, almost 30, and then 27. You're seeing more Burnsian box scores. I know that's not the best way to research, but the minutes have been there, and he's down to 6,200. So I actually like playing a lot of Burns tonight at 62. Like I said, he's not quite up there in terms of like value with some of these guys. I think I still prefer Yossi over him a little bit, but if you wanted to play him over Carlson or Yossi or Hamilton, I don't think that's a bad idea just based on what we've seen from him a little bit lately.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. I think that's all we got, man. Let's talk about Yahoo really quick. Go join these contests. Go support Yahoo. They're supporting us. They are the presenting sponsor of the NHL DFS Strategy Show. And they've got lower management fees and a lot less pros. I know a bunch of you guys have liked playing over on Yahoo, and you should, because it's better for your long-term ROI. When you join, use promo code OSMO to get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports rewards points. NBA DFS main slate ownership projections are free today. Go check those out if you haven't played NBA DFS. Deeper dives going on right now. I don't even know who it is. Someone's filling in for Alex, but go check those guys out after this. Hat trick picks. Who do we have as our let's do like 3% owned hat trick?
I totally forgot about this. You want to go first?
I've got one in mind. I know he's not going to get a hat trick, but the spirit of the game, I'll take Vegas 2's Chandler Stevenson.
Oh my God! Come on now, that's ridiculous.
Could you imagine though if I hit that one? Right?
Yeah, legendary. You would get bragging rights for the rest of the season. We have to do this again. I will take. Man, there's a lot of nice choices here. I'm gonna take Mikko Rantanen, 2% ownership.
Wow, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. Go check out the ownership projections if you are not a member. Well, you should become a member. Use promo code HitTheIce to get 50% off your first week of any Osmo Plus weekly package. If you have any other questions, feel free to DM me on Twitter or whatever. My handle is above me. Nolan's is above him. So, come join us in Slack for all the hot takes and the analysis that people are so willing to give in chat and sharing news and all that stuff. Slack's huge for last minute adjustments. And by last minute, I mean 20, 30 minutes before the game. Maybe you're out and you get the channel alert. It's good stuff. So come join if you're thinking about it. Again, use that promo code to get 50% off your first week. Anything else, Nolan, before we head out of here?
That's it. That's all I got. Play Edmonton 1 and win all the money, I guess, tonight.
All right. I will be back tomorrow for the normal Saturday show. Good luck tonight, guys. Let's bink.
Bye-bye.